I talked mainly about the role of civil society in Africa, in internet policy making, as far as freedoms are concerned, and the fact that basically civil society has the voice of civil society in Africa has been largely missing in these forums, and there is a need to bring in more of the civil society as far as internet governance policies are concerned. And it's not just civil society that is missing, but also Africa really is largely absent when decisions are made that affect how we use internet and the freedoms that we enjoy on the internet. You find that Africa's voice is really largely missing. And so my recommendation is that there needs to be more initiatives such as this one, where you can bring in more African voices, and you can also bring in this civil society voices, because you find that a lot of decisions are being made that affect different freedoms online, like the right to privacy, and civil society is not involved. At the end of it all, we come in at the tail end to now start advocating and to reverse the decisions that have already been made, in which time sometimes it might be too late. The other thing that I wanted to bring about is the fact that a lot of the civil society seem to shy away from internet policy discussions because I think maybe it's, as someone had mentioned, the lack of awareness, first of all, and also just lacking the right skills. And there is a need to bring in the international standards and international laws or international instruments that protect these freedoms. For example, the Article 19 of the ICCPR, that is the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, protects specifically, states that the freedom of expression may not be limited, and it gives the circumstances under which it can be limited. And you also find that the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, also, which is very accessible, by the way, protects these rights. The UDHR also has indicated in Article 19 that freedom of expression is a fundamental human right. Now, these same international standards that apply offline also should apply online. And a lot of legislation is being made. For example, Kenya, we've been working on the freedom of information law, and you find that there's not much reference that is made online. There's a lot that is made offline, but not much reference online. And when we started working on this together with the government, there came up the need to come up with the data protection law. So the two are being developed together as legislation that will protect people's privacy, for example, as far as people's data is concerned, so that intermediaries or businesses do not share your data with others unnecessarily when they're not supposed to. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, unfortunately, that I didn't get to talk about, is the tightrope that both the government and for us in civil society, we seem to be walking when it comes to freedom of expression on the internet. On the one hand, we respect and we promote and demand that that freedom is protected. On the other hand, there are rights and responsibilities. Our country is moving towards getting into an election year. So at this point, there's a lot that is happening online. There could be a lot of hate speech that is happening. And my organization, for example, we have specifically put as what we are calling the social media SWAT team in place. And that is not to or pry into people's privacy or anything like that, but just to look out for messages that are not really helpful for this country, and get those messages. And because we know that in 2007, it was such inflammatory messages that helped fuel the post-election violence. And so we're becoming responsible citizens and asking everybody, to be on the lookout for such. And we've managed to get some and gotten the attention of the National Intelligence Security to look into those incidences. Much as we we promote and we laud the government for putting in place infrastructure that allows for access to the internet. And we're also thankful that the Kenya government so far is not as repressive, but there is that tightrope that you have to walk, that you balance rights and responsibilities. And to that extent, there is in place the steering committee, media monitoring steering committee, that just only yesterday announced a 5 million Kenya shilling fine on those caught engaging in hate speech. But the problem with that is it's not just on things that have been published, but also the intent to monitor people's emails and people's SMSs, which in this case is violating people's privacy. So that is an area that probably we really need to find out legal ways in which national security can be adhered to, but at the same time not infringing on people's rights. Thank you. At this point,